Hi, Fashion Dolls, and we are back with another new episode in the new year of Style by Stevie. Welcome back, Fashion Dolls. Joining me today, we have Billy Joseph Jr., and I'm super excited to be kicking off my new season, my second interview with him, also on this day. This is when season 18 premiered. So, January 2nd, 2024, which would have been last year, was when I did my premiere of season 18. And a very special thank you to Pure Luxe Salon. Please, smooches, loves, and kisses, please go and check out Pure Luxe Salon. I'm super excited for today's very special guest. He is a model and actor, and he's also in the Carolinas. Very talented, very handsome, amazing, and I'm super excited to be chatting with him. As you guys can see today, I am rocking this beautiful two-piece, embracing the whole platinum movement. When I tell y'all Beyonce's Renaissance, I had to keep it going. I had to keep the party going up in here for the new year. I had to. So let me go ahead and share this live with Billy so that we can get him in here. And we're going to kick off this show today. I'm super excited, y'all. And joining me tomorrow, we have Rick Branch will be joining me. So make sure you guys, Rick Kelvin Branch will be joining me tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in for that. I shared the live with my very special guest. He should be joining me today. As you guys can see, again, we're keeping that platinum move. Yes, it's a two-piece. So yes, I got my midriff. I told y'all I'm like 5'7", very small, very petite. So let's keep it going. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls joining me as we welcome our very special guest for today, Billy Joseph Jr. Hello. Hello.
Well, hello. How are
Hello,
you?
how are you? I'm doing wonderful. Welcome to the dollhouse.
Let me
And
get
happy.
let me get some volume going here. I'm sorry. It's harder for me to see now that we're on. It's two of us on here together. So, okay.
There we go.
Am I cutting my head off?
No, I can see you. I can see you perfectly.
Okay.
And the audience can see you as well too. Welcome if you're just coming in. Welcome. Happy New Year.
And happy New Year to you as well.
Yes, 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 yes. While Billy's over here trying to get it together, we can see you and we can
How's
hear
that?
you.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, back this
perfect.
tripod up a little bit.
Perfect. Perfect. You're good. We can see you and we can hear you now. So, how was 2024 for you and how did you celebrate your Christmas holidays and ring in the new year? Because we're now in 2025. It's a whole new beginning, a fresh new start. So, how was your Christmas holidays and what did you do to ring it in?
Well, we just spent a lot of time at home, just trying to celebrate with family and friends. So we had some family illnesses going on, so we had to tackle that during the holidays also. But we were able just to play some games and eat some good food and celebrate that way both Christmas and kind of wrap that up again yesterday with New Year's to enjoy our typical cornbread and collards to bring in the new year. So, you're also from the South, so you might get
Yes,
that.
yes. And it's the best feeling to be able to eat our home cooked meal and food just to be with family. And what we did was we spent time with my family, like my brother and his girlfriend and my nephew came down. So it was great for all of us to be able to open our gifts and spend time with each other. So that's what we did for the Christmas holidays. And of
Oh, right,
course, we ate good food. So it's the best feeling.
right. It's so good. Eat all the carbs, and every no one holds it against you until today, until the next day, until January 2nd or 3rd.
Yes, 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 yes. So how did you ring in the new year? Because yesterday, after I got done with my premiere, when we returned, kids were still out there shooting fireworks and celebrating and ringing in the new year. So how did you guys celebrate?
Fireworks are definitely the best thing. Yes, I just stayed at home this year, so we stayed at home and watched a movie and chilled out on the couch and crashed early because I was cooking on New Year's Day, so I didn't want to stay up too late and then have to get up early and start cooking cornbread and pintos and collards and black eyed peas and all those things.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And my mom was just cooking today, so I had to do the cornbread.
Mm.
And she made some beans and stuff today as well, too.
Oh yeah, you can't go through the holidays without that.
Yes. And again, it's the comfort food. When you are home for the Christmas holidays, it's the comfort food that everybody knows and loves. And it's just like it goes straight to your soul.
Oh,
So it does something to
oh
you.
yeah.
And,
And lots of leftovers too.
and yes, and the bowls. We hardly have any room in our refrigerator. Last year when we did Christmas dinner and then Thanksgiving, we literally had to get our family to come get some. It was so much. But today we learned how to balance and do things in a portionate size where we wouldn't have to worry about um, refrigerator space being all taken up. So yeah.
All right. That's great.
Yes. Yes. So, for you, let's start at the beginning of your journey. Of course, as you've mentioned, you're from the South. We're both from the South. And one thing I didn't know about you is that you're an Aries, April 14th.
I am an Aries,
So,
April 14th. That's
yes.
right.
So, growing up in the South, how many brothers, how many sisters, and at what age did you develop the passion for acting and modeling?
Okay. Well, I think I have one brother. He's 6 years younger than me, and so for me, I think as far as just this being enamored, I guess, by movies as a young, just a young child. Even I said recently, and with someone else, actually, I can't recall exactly where. Oh, I was at the Tryon International Film Festival here in Tryon, North Carolina, and we I had a film, The Twin Minder, from Frank Raybuck that and Ken Raybuck that screened there at the Trine International Film Festival. So in the Q&A, I had a similar question, and I think that I remember earliest always our play. I had a lot of cousins, so a lot of first cousins, and so we all lived in the same area together, the same neighborhood together. We played a lot, and a lot of times that play involved us acting out the Wizard of Oz, in particular, I think, and different films that we had seen, or the Goonies, or or Indiana Jones, that some of my favorites. And so we would. I remember my dad mowing the lawn, and I would just be following the yellow brick road behind him. Right, it was a green cut grass, but it was my yellow brick road. And so I would stop and I would talk to the Tin Man, and I would talk to the Scarecrow, and talk to the Cowardly Lion, and ultimately make our way to Oz. And different cousins would play different parts, right? So we kind of flipped around. So that's my earliest memories, really, of acting things out. But always had this love of film. And so in college, I did some brief modeling work, and also worked at Medieval Times Dinner Theater, and so in Myrtle Beach, and so um, did that. And then through the years, I worked as a museum curator, and in that capacity, we would do a lot of historical reenactments and living history type programs. We would create ghost walks around Halloween that would do historical tours of our area, and the ghosts would be historical characters, so we would get to act those out. And we've done that with some Rev War history as well and other periods. And so that was always my outlet, I suppose, for that interest. That then just as my kids got older and more independent in the last several years, I had more time to consider jumping in a little bit differently and a little bit more into some acting opportunities and different modeling opportunities, and uh, did some commercial work primarily, and was asked by a producer to audition for his film that he had written. And so, and I thought, well, I'm not really a film actor, and I didn't at that point have any film experience. Um, and so I just thought, I don't even really know how to do this audition. So, and he said, I don't know, I think you'll be good. So I did it, and I got the lead role in that. So I had a crash course in learning on the set. I think Quentin Tarantino says when people say, "Where did you learn film?" He says, "On set." That's where you learn film. That's where he studied film, on set. And so I feel like much the same way. Now, since then, I've definitely and and need to take classes, as all actors do. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
a continuous learning experience, and also as you take on different roles. So I've had the opportunity to play a wide range of characters. So sometimes those are very it's very emotional characters that you're having to play. There's a place you have to go to prepare for those roles. But then sometimes it's just goofy, and sometimes it's comedy, and sometimes it's other types of characters. So learning to do that is it's challenging, but it's also very fun, and it's always a learning experience, and just getting to be around other actors and more experienced actors, and the crew that you get to meet and in many cases become close to and friends with. It's very important to me, at least. That's been the highlight for every project that I've been on, is the people that I've got to meet and get close to.
And that was going to be my next question for you. What was the most challenging scene you've ever had to film, and how did you get through that experience?
Well, I think I've had a couple of those. It's kind of a toss up, I think. But both were pretty heavy dramas. I mentioned the Twin Minder earlier.
Yes.
That was a challenging role. Not as much for the characters I was playing, even though it was very serious film as well. But it's more of a thriller, right? So, but I was playing identical twin brothers in that film. So that was interesting to try to jump from character to character, back and forth, especially during filming, and try to get into a different mindset, a different accent, and do the different characters that way. And then, but I think some of the I've also I think of two roles. One was recently in a film called Say His Name, and then my very first film, which was Baby Girl. So Baby Girl was particularly challenging for the fact that it was my first film, and I was having to just really learn as you go.
Yes.
But but that particular film was dealing with PTSD. It was dealing with, I was playing a veteran with severe PTSD and trauma from war, who was also having to deal with his daughter, who was going through some very traumatic things of her own experiences, who was a teenager. And I have a teenage daughter. So, for that, that helped. For me, they were challenging, but it was also roles I could relate to. And then, and Say His Name was in a similar way. It was dealing with a man whose father had been an alcoholic. Now, my dad's never been an alcoholic. He's a great dad, but in the film, that character's dad was an alcoholic, and that had heavily impacted um, my character and my character's brother. And so we had to deal in both films. We're dealing with self abuse. We're dealing with PTSD. We're dealing with heavy depression and PTSD and suicide, drug use, all of those. So those were some particularly challenging roles, just because you can't find yourself heavy into that mindset of the character, and try to come out of that and then go home and smile. Have you been crying all day? So,
Right. And as an actor, and I've sat with actors here on this platform. I'm seeing you guys come in. Hello, Happy New Year's.
I
And
know
I see my girl. Hey, girl.
I see some friends too, and I know to call their names or not. So there's a lot in here. So cool.
Yes, a very special shout outs to my girl Steph. Make sure y'all please go and check her out. And she's in the North Carolina area as well. Hi, Chrissy. Hey, Boo. Hey, everybody.
Oh,
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
sorry.
We are here with Billy Joseph Jr. Um, and I'm going to go back for a minute because you've talked about being an actor and having to take training as well too, or taking classes. That was going to be my next question for you. Do you have any funny or interesting stories from your auditions that you would like to share?
Okay. I think it's one thing is it seems like they all come at the same time, right? So you can go um, weeks and not have an audition and think, oh, nobody wants me anymore. You know, fall into nobody likes me type of mindset. I'm never going to work again. You know, you fall into that, and then all of a sudden you have, all these auditions, and they're all. Yeah, I jokingly say this. If there's any casting directors on here, don't hold it against me. But I say casting directors work from 3 to 5 p.m. on Friday afternoon. You know, it's like, and they send all of these at once, and they want them back by Monday. You know, so for example, over the holidays, the last 2 weeks, I had 12 self tapes to do for auditions, and that's hard because you want to be off book for these, right? I mean, you want to have your lines memorized. Sometimes the sides that they give you, the excerpts from the script are short, so it's not a whole lot to learn. But other times it could be multiple pages of dialogue that you have to learn or need to learn in order to be able to do the audition as good as you can. And so when you have 10 or 12 sitting on your desk, it can be quite stressful. Um, that happened to me recently. So maybe that's not a funny story necessarily, but that happens a lot. It seems like they all come at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But then also, I would think, like, I remember literally about a month ago, um, I was in a similar situation where I had several due very close to the same time, but I was also filming on another project. And so I took all of my sides with me to the film I was working on. And I'm studying my lines in between everything else that's going on. And we had about a 30-minute break. And so this particular scene, it called for a reader, another male reader character, to read for you in the scene. And so I was playing. There was opposite. I had a male actor I was playing opposite in the film. So I just got the actress I was working with to run the camera, and the actor that I was working with to read for me, and we all did my audition in between takes of filming the other film. So luckily they helped me out. There's probably some other craziness if I had time to really think about it, but I've done auditions in hotel rooms. I've done auditions in Airbnbs. I've done them out in the backyard. Sometimes you just don't have a whole lot of time to turn those around.
And you got to make do as an actor, as a creative. I totally understand where you have to make do with what you got, 100%. Now, my next question for you is, since we talk about balancing and playing different characters, if you could have a superpower, what superpower would you choose if you were given the ability to develop a superpower?
Like a Marvel character.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, um, I would have to be able to fly. I mean, I'm about to expose my age a little bit here, which I will not tell you live on camera. But
No.
I remember going. I do remember. I remember sitting in the theater watching Christopher Reeve and Superman one.
Oh,
Yes, and I was very very young. But I've always loved, as far as superheroes go. Then I loved Superman. I also love the Incredible Hulk, but I don't think of him necessarily. His superpower is just tear things up, right? So I'm just going to axe him out of that.
mhm.
But and Bill Bixby is one of my favorite actors. So I mean, I loved the Incredible Hulk, but I loved David Banner as much as I loved the Hulk, right? So the superpower I think for me would be flight. That definitely, I would love to be able to fly.
Okay. Okay. And also, what makes it interesting? Anything in your career, what makes anything interesting for you to learn as an actor?
Oh wow, I think every role has its own set of challenges for sure. But I like doing everything. So it's for me, it gives me that opportunity to do so many things that I probably wouldn't normally get to do in everyday life, right? So this sounds horrible. I was going to say, you're like, so you play a serial killer, you play, whatever, you just do, you tap into the mindset of these other people. And I think that's what is most exciting for me for the different roles is to get to become that person for a moment. And that might be a typical answer that actors give, but it's real, it's true. I mean, it's just that you get to for a moment be someone else, right? And so, and that can be a wide range. I've played such a variety, and I think that everyone just has its own special. I have a special connection to it, and you do find yourself in that. You can find like what is it that I'm relating to about this particular character. So that's also a very intriguing part of it as well, an exciting part of it as well, because you really have to tap into that if you're going to play the role right, is how does it relate to me as an individual? And sometimes even I've a lot of times had auditions where you're asked to tell that. You're asked to say, what is it about this character that you relate to personally? And so when you can start to relate it personally, you can really start to understand that character and become that character a bit more.
And not only that, but understanding the character, you've got 20 upcoming projects, and some of them you have completed already.
Yeah.
Beware the Demonic has already been completed. That was last year. And you have one, The Children of the Woods, which is completed for this year, 2025. Wasted Wide, Eccentric Millionaire. Of course, I mean, the list goes on and on. We'd be here all day going through all of your projects that you've done. But which one are you looking forward to this year now that we're in the new year of 2025? Which one are you
I
looking
can't say that because I'm working with multiple producers and directors.
It's like,
I
and
can't
someone,
offend someone. Let me just say it like this. So, a lot of those you're looking at IMDb, I guess, on my list or my resume one. So,
yes,
a lot of those they're completed. They're in post production, right? So, not all of them are available yet. The Beware the Demonic, by the way, it sounds like I'm playing in a horror movie, but in that I'm actually playing Jesus. So it's it's a contrast between good and evil in that one. I haven't really talked about that one much with anyone, so since you brought it up, I just thought I would toss that out. It's a documentary though, and that documentary, I think it streams on one of the streaming services, and I'll have to check with Silas Rowland is the director for that, who's big independent film director here locally, but he does documentary film productions that show internationally. So that's what that one was about. But coming up very soon, I'll be out in LA filming what's called A Price to Pay. And A Price to Pay is a story that kind of taps into that um, the concept of you reap what you sow.
oh,
So that the reason I'm kind of beardy, I'm kind of scraggly right now, and it's going to get worse over the next few days and weeks. Because I'm playing two characters actually in this film as well. And one of those is a homeless man, so I'm getting a little scraggly for that. But that's an exciting one that's coming up. It's called A Price to Pay. Matthew Kington out in Los Angeles is producing that film. I'll also be in Los Angeles filming really what I guess was my first lead in a feature film. Uh, First lead role in a feature film, and that is called Gate A17. It's a comedy from Carl Jackson. And that is going to be fun because I'm playing a dad who's taking my family, my wife and two teenage kids, on a vacation, and the airport gets closed and we're stuck in the airport.
oh,
So it's our National Lampoon's kind of story. So we're stuck in the airport trying to survive, and it's a comedy. So I'm really looking forward to that because I've not had the opportunity to do a lot of comedy. I've done one comedy called Pirouette, um, uh, Pirouette of the Heart, which was done by a local production, and it's not out quite yet, but hopefully will be out soon. And so yeah, I don't have a whole lot of I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to do comedy, but I think it's going to be fun. People tell me I'm naturally funny, so I hope I can pull it off on screen. But so that's going to be fun, and I'm excited about that one as well. But I do have I've got a couple of other projects already in the works for the coming year. So I hate to start listing things and then leave someone out. I don't try to hurt someone's feelings. But
Well, you've got so many.
those are two big ones that are coming up.
You've got so many, and I'm gonna go back, piggyback for a minute off of what you just said about the beard and everything. That ties into acting because you are required to change your look all the time. And even I know
Yeah.
this working in the fashion industry all these years. Even for this season, I said you have to evolve and change along with the times because fashion trends don't stay the same. And that was my next question for you as a model because you also model as well too. You've done uh, commercial and you've done print as well too. Now, my next question for you is how do you prepare for a photo shoot? Because I know how you prepare for a role. You have to change certain things, or who was it? I think it was Christian Bale. He had to gain weight for a role. So a lot of actors are required to change up their look to fit the aesthetic of what they are going for. It's normal for me because I tell my mom this all the time. I said, I'm a chameleon. I don't stay the same. So my hair color was black yesterday. Today I have highlights.
All
So
right.
who's to say what hair color I'm going to have tomorrow? Could she be a redhead? Could she be have green hair? Who knows? But as an actor, for you, or and especially as a model, how do you prepare for a photo shoot?
Yeah, it's funny. You can't see where I'm filming right now, but there's a mirror right here beside me, and so I keep a window marker actually, and on that, like right now, it says I have listed out three projects that I have coming up, and so when I need a beard, I have that written how long I need to grow it because sometimes this is how it usually happens, like commercial work that a lot of times they want clean cut, and then and most of my film jobs they want to just like scruff, kind of like I've got right now, or maybe a little bit more. And then like this homeless guy, we wanted it as thick as possible. And so I really started growing. I was going to grow my beard out for the entire month of December. I didn't have any other projects coming up until LA for that role. But I ended up booking a couple other things that needed me to shave first. So now I'm down to like a shorter time frame to grow this beard out. But I keep a beard growth calendar right here on this mirror, and it's written. And as far as hair goes, then um, I try to just keep about the same hair length, right? So unless there's actually been roles that I passed on because they wanted me to like buzz my hair completely, and I couldn't really do. Now I'll tell you this: they come out with the right check, right, a number of zeros on their check, I'll shave it all off right here on your show. But but they're gonna have to pay for that, right? So that weighs into it also. It's like, all right, how much, how bad do I want this role, or how much are they willing to pay for me to take such a drastic measure? Because my headshots have me in my hair's like this, right? So it's like when casting directors, whether it be for a commercial or a print job or for film or television, they look at the headshot. That's kind of how they expect you to look,
Yeah.
right? So you can't go changing drastically all the time. But again, I mean, I would do that for the right role. Um, if it's a small role though, then I can't shave my head for it. So, but yeah, so you do have to maintain a level of consistency. And of course, most of, a lot of roles I play require a lot of physicality. So, and that doesn't
Oh yes.
necessarily mean doing physical things. I've had the joy like of my life playing this character named Gage on this series that it's a television series that's coming up. It's not out yet. It's called On the Run. It's a zombie fighting, and I'm a zombie fighter in this. So like everybody else, we're in the film we're fighting zombies, but so those I did get some action scenes, or like really like fighting, physically fighting. But sometimes like I just did a film recently, and the physicality for me was that I literally, I was being held prisoner. So, for hours and hours and hours and hours of filming, I'm literally on my knees the whole time. Right. So it doesn't sound that bad. And when you watch the film, you say, oh, he's on his knees for 3 minutes. What is he whining about? But, it took me 6 hours to shoot that. So, when you're on your knees for 6 hours, it hurts. And so, you have to, there's a physicality involved in most acting. And actors will tell you that, and it doesn't mean we all look like, ripped like Chris Evans. I don't, but it's a matter of trying to stay healthy and trying to stay fit and flexible and being able to manage that from a physical standpoint too, because it's mental, but it's also very physical as well.
I've inter- uh, I've interviewed a lot of martial artists and stuntmen, and they've told me what it's like going behind the scenes of training for a role or having to get in shape for a role, or just the process of having to shoot scenes over and over and over again because they didn't get the take right. So for you, how do you prepare as it pertains to doing stunts and action? Because from what I'm hearing, my girlfriend says she loves zombie films. I do too. And
I'm not re-
um,
I'm trying to see the chat. It's going faster than I can keep up. So,
yes,
oh yeah, the love is, so they'll have to check this out. It's called On the Run, and it's from a young director. Isaac Stovall is his name, who's a local director. Um, I say local, I mean in our area, right? So he's in the Carolinas, and he started he started doing this at like 14 years old, writing these, filming them on his phone, and now it's turned into major production. Also, I've got a Zombie Legacy that's coming up, and he's in here with me too. And so this one's another one that I'm getting ready. I'm excited about this summer. We're filming Zombie Legacy, which is going to be a feature film turned television show, I hope, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And so that's coming out from Warrior Nation, and I get to do some zombie fighting in it also. So for me, as someone, I've played a lot of roles where I've got a gun or I've got a machete or some type of weapon, and so I've went to training, stunt training for that, right? Because I never was even in the military. So for me, I don't even own a gun, so I've had to learn how to properly carry one, how to look like I know what I'm doing, right? So and also you have to know how to use things like when I'm
yes,
axing a zombie, I don't really need to chop the background actor's nose off in the process, right? So even though they're not usually real, they're usually rubber, they're hard rubber, you still could really hurt someone with these things.
yes,
And so have gone to some stunt training classes, continue to always do that also, and as well as just acting classes, voice classes, breathing classes, just body movement. Did some recently here at a studio where we just worked on how to stretch and how to breathe when you're getting ready to prepare for these roles or even film, and how that can impact everything. It can impact your performance on based on just how prepared you are. It helps you mentally. It helps you physically. I personally, I try to work out regularly and do all I can to eat well and stay healthy, and that helps me, I think, in turn, to be prepared for those roles when they come up.
absolutely. It's a process. You have to train to get in character. They expect you to look a certain way. And that also brings me for to my next question for you. As a model and as an actor, how do you organize your daily schedule? Because you're in demand all the time, where they're on the call sheet or the, what is it called? The script, and it's your part. And even for modeling, they want you to do commercials because you've done digital, print, and commercial. So, for you being on call, how do you find that balance and how do you organize your daily schedule?
It might be the most challenging part of it all for me, actually. Some days I just struggle bad, but it's yes. I do keep. I am old school when it comes to that, and I have my paper calendar that lays on my desk, and
Me too.
my my pencils, my pencils that I sharpen. I try to marry that up to my online calendar, but I don't always do that successfully. So I don't always keep it updated. So I try to keep that paper calendar and keep my pencil. I always pencil everything, right? Because things shift. So even with film projects, it's an outdoor scene, but it decides it's going to rain that week. So you have to change things around. So the if we can, for me at least, I almost have to map out every day, hour by hour. I don't always do that, and so things don't always go as planned when I don't. But it's better when I do. But that for me, that's how I try to manage that, is just to really write it out day by day and stay on top of the calendar as much as possible.
Yes, yes. It's a balance with being an actor and then being a model, and even with me hosting this platform. I see my brother K Tukes. He says that it sounds interesting. I'm going to check it out. So shout outs to my brother K Tukes Spot. Make sure you guys please go and check out the K Tukes Spot. Great platform, great talk show, and he's actually coming on the show next month. So
Oh,
make sure
cool.
you guys this month, or I think next month. Correct me if I'm wrong, brother. Let me know. But he is coming on the show, and we do have another collab coming up. You guys have been asking for it, so I'm super excited about that. My best friend Steph, Dance Steph, she is in the North Carolina area, so it's just like the talent is booming in North Carolina. I also have a cousin there, so a cousin and a brother there. So it's like a lot of talent, a lot of the local talent is booming in the North Carolina
Oh,
area.
oh
So
yeah,
my
for real.
next
Absolutely.
my next question for you is, what's the longest photo shoot you've ever done?
Okay. Photo or film?
Photo.
I see. It's like so. Um, I'm I'm not sure. I mean, there have been some shoots that run over, right? I have been on some film projects that ran way over. And there's some, particularly when I think of recently we did a film called Lake Sinister, and in that one in particular, we filmed well into the morning. So I was coming out of a cold lake in November for about 2 nights in a row, at about 1 to 3 a.m. Because it was a water scene, so we were filming at night. So it was cold and it was late and exhausting, but looks really cool on screen. Um, but yeah, and so as far as the photo shoots go, um, I would say most of my photo shoots have stuck to a pretty strict schedule, and I think with photo shoots that you don't have as many variables that can go wrong as you have with a film shoot, right? And maybe it's not even go wrong. It's just that a lot of times with a film, you don't know until you're there how the light's going to look or how the sound's going to play, or you have to adjust a lot of things while you're there, and so that a lot of times can slow down production. With a photo shoot, it tends to go much smoother and happens
Yes.
on schedule. So I've done, like a 2 day photo shoot, but it was an 8 hour day and an 8 hour day, so it wasn't like we were, it wasn't like anything went wrong that pushed us over time wise.
As we talk about balance, my next question for you is, before we get into our games, because I told Billy 15 minutes, I didn't want to go over. So we're going to have some fun after this last question, Fashion Dolls. We're going to do something called Turn the Tables. And also, we're going to do something called the Rapid Five. So we get into that in a sec. But my question for you is, what are the mind blocks and difficulties that you've had to overcome last year? We're now in 2025. So, what are some of the mind blocks and difficulties or obstacles that you've had to overcome coming into the new year 25?
Okay, I think um, just learning to manage the schedule is a big one,
It's a lot.
and
It's overwhelming.
yeah, definitely did. I definitely did a lot more projects in 2024 than any year previously, right? So I see my friends commenting, so I have to be like, "Hey, Carlos. Hey, Brian." Hey, Danica. So, yeah, so that definitely was probably the biggest thing for me. Also, just I don't know, you every day. It's funny, like at a workshop recently, they had a session called "When Do I Quit?" Right? So I think you know that is always it's a mental battle that you always face because it can be grueling at times, but then also so fulfilling at times. And so you can often be asking yourself, all right, is this worth it? Why am I doing this? Is this worth it? And so I think that's something that I've had to really work on over the last year and try to come to grips with uh, having those days and making that decision to step forward and keep going.
Y'all are showing me so much love. Thank y'all so much. And it feels great to be back into the new year, a new season, everything. Hi, Sacred. A day of royalty. Hi, Queen. You look fabulous. Happy New Year. Thank you, girl. I always got to change it up. I got to do the big switcheroo. So I always do something different. I don't know. Like I said, what hair color? I was just telling Billy and you guys, I don't know what look, hair color we going to have tomorrow. So I will definitely be going through a bunch of Vogue magazines at the end of this interview to try to get some ideas. But
Wait a minute. Let me ask you about that. So you're just going to pull it out of a magazine? Is that how you're going to make the decision?
that's where I get my inspiration. Like today's look that I'm wearing is actually inspired by Paco Rabanne.
Ah,
Now it's a
nice.
dress that he made, and it has nothing but it's like a gunmetal sequin type of dress. But if you go back and you look at the picture, you can't really tell. What I'm wearing is like a two piece, so it's like a bralette and a mini skirt that I'm wearing today. But it looks like a dress. So I wanted to go for something that was inspired by Paco Rabanne. So I said I have to have that dress, and I can't remember who wore it. I think it was Naomi Campbell. She wore something similar in one of the fashion shows. And I said, I have to have a look like that for this season because I like things that sparkle. And if you guys see me move a little bit, it's because this is definitely sparkling. So,
That's all right. Well,
yes,
listen, I'm going out to Sundance Film Festival at the end of January, so you'll have to send me at least one style tip that I can use.
I got you. I
All
got
right.
you. I
I'll give you a
got you.
shout out.
All right, fashion dolls. It is time. We are going to do the Kelly Rowland red highlights. Well, who knows? I've been having so much fun with red and blonde and brown and black. My eyes are brown. You can't really tell on camera, but they look black on camera. But I've been just in love with black hair. So who knows? We'll see tomorrow, Sacred. You guys have to stay tuned. But it is now time to get into our games with Billy here. All right? Are you ready? It is time for the rapid five. And Billy has to tell me five things that he can't live without. Now, most of my guests would say their family, they would say their favorite football team, their favorite drink, anything that's in their leisure time that they can't live without. All right? So, Billy, what are five things that you can't live without?
For the serious ones, I will say family, of course. Um, that's my serious one, right? So my fun ones would be my paddleboard and maybe my pickleball and tennis court and let's see. Uh, I hate being put on the spot. I don't even know what number I'm on already. So, um, yeah. Um,
You said
Friends.
pickleball.
Yeah.
Friend,
So I
yes.
did. I had pickleball, tennis, paddleboard, family, and friends. That's five. I got it.
Oh, they're saying three. The audience is saying three. You got three. So
What?
you just gave us five.
I did.
You just gave us five.
They're
Yes.
so argumentative. I said, I said five. I said family, friends, paddleboard, pickleball, and tennis. Right? That's five.
Yes, that's five. And
Oh,
Danica said there's now four. So that's, yeah, five altogether. So, all right, fashion dolls. You guys know what time it is. It's been a minute since I've done this. Since we're in the new year, we got to kick it off again. It is now time to turn those tables. All right? And this is where my guests get to ask me as many questions as they want to. Fashion, beauty, family, culture, whatever they want to know. So I'm going to pass it on down to Billy here, and Billy is going to flip the table, and he's going to be in the host seat. All
All
right, so I have
right.
to,
All right.
now I'm being put in the hot seat, so you guys get to know a little bit more about me for my new viewers out there. So, Billy, take it away.
All right. How long have you been doing this show?
I actually started right after high school, y'all, before, believe it or not, right in 2016 was when I graduated. So I started right after high school.
Okay, that's great. All right. And who has been your favorite guest? Trick question.
See, you did put me in the spot, y'all.
Think. You better think hard.
Oh my God. Y'all always get me with this
It
question.
really shouldn't be that challenging. Come on.
Oh my God. I've had
Oh,
so many interviews. I've had so many interviews. It's like asking a mom to choose her favorite child.
but what
My
if your
sister
favorite?
says,
Okay,
don't
but
answer that.
what if it's your what if it's only one of your child who's asking the question and that child's staring at you right now? Then what do you say?
Oh. Mm. Danica
Gosh.
says Billy Joseph Jr. Yes, I love this interview too. I love them all. It's like asking a mom to choose her favorite
Oh
child.
wow, yeah.
But
But now I feel bad because I
had
had to
to,
literally drag it out of you. Come on.
if I had to choose, I would have to say the one with Tommy Davidson. And I
Okay.
must say this, and Billy, you know this as an actor, you that third wall, you're not supposed to look past that third wall. So as I'm tapping into my trying to be the next Gayle King or Barbara Walters, be serious and professional. My mom called me before I did that interview, and a quick story. And she says, "What if he breaks out in one of his characters? If he, because you guys know he voices Oscar Proud on the Proud Family, and he was on In Living Color."
Right.
So when we did the interview, lo and behold, mid part of the interview, and I'm trying to be all serious and stern. It's hard when you're working with a comedian or interviewing a comedian. They try to break you and make you look past that third wall. You're not supposed to look past it. So when I did the interview with him, lo and behold, my mom's prediction came to reality. And he broke out and did one of his characters from In Living Color. And when I tell you I could not contain my laughter, that would have to be one of the interviews. And my brother K Tooks is in here. He's seen it. Everybody was cracking up. We had a good time because he was just making the audience laugh.
Well, that's
So
great.
if I had to
That's
choose,
great.
I would
That's
say
great. It's a
that.
special
Yeah.
moment, a special memory for sure. All
He
right.
broke me. He broke me. He corrupted me because I was trying to be professional and look all serious and stern and everything. But it's hard.
I
It's
know.
very hard
I know.
when you're
When that
working with
happened,
people.
you get you get that all the time. It's like, all right, what was your favorite movie? And I'm thinking, I want to work with all these people again. I can't pick one. So, yeah, so that happens for sure. All right, I'll ask you this then. Of all your, all right, how about you go through all these styles every day almost, right? So, do you have a favorite um, style that you've had? Let's say recently. Let's just say recently. Let's say for 2024. What was your favorite style you had for 2024?
Ooh, I've had so many. I always change my look. When you look around, I always post a new look every single day. I've had so many. Wow. It is one dress that I wore in particularly back in, I want to say 2024. It was black and it had cutouts on the side. And I think it was either Kim Kardashian or Diana Ross. And it had like a chain around the waist. My back was out. So if you guys know me, I'm very curvaceous. That was one of my favorite looks. And as soon as I posted that dress, that look, people went crazy over it. They're just like, we've never seen this style, this side of you, because I'm always covered. But a friend of mine, shout outs to Blue Haze Clothing, my girl Babs, said, "This is the dress." She posted the dress on her website,
Right.
and as soon as I posted it, the dress was sold out.
Oh,
A
nice.
lot of women need the same exact dress. K Tooks, I think you know what look I'm talking about. And I had caramel colored hair, black, and the dress had a gold belt around it. Uh, the chain went around my back, so my back was out, but the dress was gorgeous.
Will you
That was
put it
one of
up
my
on your
favorites.
story then?
I
Maybe sometime this week?
absolutely, yes, I
Do
absolutely will.
do that
I've
so we
had
can
so
see
many.
it.
Yes, so you guys can see the dress. And it hugs everything. It was very clad. The dress was very clad. But that's one of my favorite looks from 2024. I think it was 2024, 2023. One of those I have so many. It's doggone near 700 looks, 720 looks close. Because I do them on Pinterest. I pin all of my looks on Pinterest. And you guys can see some of them
All right.
there. So if you go to Stevie's LOTW, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I
I'll
want to see
post it
that
to
for
my
sure. Definitely
so you
check
guys
out, share us the Pinterest link too.
yes,
And then
yes, I want to
I
see
also
this
have
dress.
one more question. If you got to cast me as a character, it could be a film that's already been made. All right. So, but all right, then what would you cast me as?
Mm, because I love thrillers. It would either be a detective or the husband of one of the main characters. That's what I would cast you as. And we're
Okay.
all trying to find out who did what. I don't know what it is about thrillers. And I was telling my guest this, Gerard J. Dot yesterday about my love of thrillers and horror movies because before I was terrified of horror movies. But I said now I'm into thrillers. I'm into horror films. And I think my mom has rubbed off on me. She was a horror film fanatic. I am now obsessed with Pinhead, and I've seen Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis,
Oh,
and
yeah,
of
the
course
classics. You got to, yes. Listen, you
The
can't go
Scream
wrong with Jamie
franchise.
Lee,
Oh,
right? Well, I think there's
she's
just horror is such a wide genre, right? So I've been in things that technically get clumped into horror, but really I would say this is really thriller. It's not really horror, you know. So I'm not huge on like slasher films to watch. You know, I'm fine playing in it, but but as far as yeah, that genre is just so vast. There's so many different areas.
that's where I get my look changes, as in hairstyles, Pinterest. That's you can get a lot of inspiration from there, like decor, food recipes. It's a lot you can find out on there. I go there for the fashion inspo. And how I found out about the Paco Rabanne look was it was originally made in the 60s. And I think it, like I said, it was either Naomi Campbell or Zendaya wore something similar, where the dress was kind of short, the back was out, and it was nothing but sparkles. The dress was gorgeous. So I said, I have to find something similar to that. And today's look is definitely an homage to Paco Rabanne. One of my favorite shows was The Nanny growing up with Fran Drescher, and she was one of the most stylish nannies there is. There was
Absolutely.
never a moment she wasn't in style.
Well, I want you to make me I know it's got a particular name that I'm probably going to get wrong. There's a board in Pinterest, right?
Hmm.
Is it called an idea board or a
Yeah.
lookbook? Idea. All right. You're going to make me one for Sundance, right? So I'll know what to wear.
Yes, of course. Yes, because I,
Okay.
I do mines too. I create idea boards as well too. I have to send you a couple of them. Like some of my favorite eras from fashion are included on my idea boards, like the 80s, the 90s. Um, Clueless was one of my favorite shows. So a lot of the fashions for this season were inspired by Cher and Dion on Clueless or either off the
Yeah.
runways. So I always pull inspiration from some way, but I always manage to put my own spin onto it. When it comes to style, you have to have your own idea and concept. So when I say I flip through the pages of Vogue, I'm like, okay, I see what she's wearing, but maybe I can pull it off the shoulder and maybe have the back out or do different things. I nick it just a little bit to the way I like it because when most designers design, you see the model wearing it on the runway, and then when the actual star, let's say Jennifer Lopez, wears it on the red carpet or somewhere, it looks completely
Right.
different. It might be a little bit longer or it might be shorter. You know, most designers alter their designs to actually look different on the actual celeb. So pay attention to that. It might look longer on the runway, or it might look shorter on the runway, or when the person is wearing it, it might look completely different, but it might be in the same pattern. So yeah.
All right. I've had a fun time today. That's it.
Yes.
And, I can be a little bit of a fashionista myself, but it's more challenge. It's like it's kind of I don't know. It's harder, I think, for me. It's like for some reason, it's like it doesn't feel like there's as many options to. But I don't know.
It's
Maybe not.
plenty.
We'll see.
It's plenty, and I'm here to help you. I definitely will help you, and I will get your idea board together. Because I also look at men's fashion too. As a woman, I always pull from both sides of the spectrum. Like, of course, in women, we sneak in our boyfriends or husbands' closets, and we will pull. I think it was Rihanna. Rihanna wears some of her ASAP's clothing. She says that she will go in his closet, his part of the closet, and she will steal his sneakers or sweater or whatever. But we do that. So I mean, fashion is freedom of style. It's freedom of expression. You're free to express yourself however you feel.
That's true.
And for me, I love the drama. I love the sparkle. I don't care how high the slit is. I don't care how short the skirt is. I've worn outfits on this show. And my mother, growing up down here in South Carolina, she is a Christian woman. She would say, I love you, girl, but that dress could have been that skirt. My God, it's very short. So, I mean, it's all about
Half of it's missing.
experimenting.
Half your skirt's missing, girl.
Yes, or where's the rest of it? Because
Where's
what,
the
like I
rest
said, what
of
I'm
it?
wearing today, when I showed her this, what I'm wearing today, she's like, "Oh my God, you wearing that? That skirt is mighty short." And again, fashion is about pushing the envelope and stepping outside of your norm. Because when I first started, I wouldn't wear anything like this. I was more of a tomboy, but now I'm more so in tune with my feminine side. So you see a lot of gowns and dresses and pantsuits or crop tops. You might see me bare midriff, whatever. So
Oh, I've
again,
got to get creative because here in about, I've got to get ready here in a few minutes. I'm going to the Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy. So it's a pop-up speakeasy, and they're reciting all. I love Edgar Allan Poe, so it's going to be an interesting night. But they do ask you to come in a sort of costume, so I'll see what I can drag out of this closet.
you got it, you got it, and I'm here. I got you, and I will have your idea board ready. So before we close out this interview, are there any words or gems you would like to give to people while we're in the new year of 25? Fresh new beginning, new
Yeah,
starts.
I mean, it seems cliche, right? We do this every year, but it's really a good time to refresh yourself, right? I mean, for me, it's a lot of times it's when I clean out my desk drawers, clean out the cabinets, start to go through the calendar and just kind of reorganize. And I think that's a very powerful thing for us to do, and it can help us mentally as well, just to kind of have that reset button. But I would also say, we shouldn't make overcommitments that are going to disappoint, that we're going to disappoint ourselves on.
Oh yeah.
You say, oh, I'm going to, look perfect in 3 months, and what is perfect, right? So I mean, we let that idea of perfect, I think, and a certain way we're supposed to be impact us a lot. So I think just setting some goals that are reachable is very critical. To set some reachable goals, attainable goals, small goals, week by
Oh
week.
yeah.
Maybe that's the goal. It's like I'm going to do this one thing this week, or I'm going to do this one thing today. Today I'm going to make sure that I go to the gym, or today I'm going to make sure that I get this tax document filled out for me. Yeah. So I think just making sure that we don't overcommit ourselves is my word of advice to people in 2025. And heck, also just realize that we're all human, and we're not invincible, and we're not, we're going to make mistakes, and yeah. So again, yeah, exactly, Danica. Don't set ourselves up for failure, which we can tend to do sometimes, and we like to compare ourselves to everything and everyone that we're seeing on social media, especially, which is detrimental mentally. We all do it. I do it. And I think just kind of consciously coming to grips with some of those thought processes. This is a great time of year to do that and try to reset and, and recharge ourselves for a new year.
More than ever, and I'm going to go along with what Danica just said. Today's final thought, she says, don't set yourself up for failure. And that is actually today's final thought, which talks about defeat and failure. And today's final thought comes from Rick Julian. He says, the agony of defeat is always greater than the pain of preparing for victory. So through life, you're going to go through your obstacles. And as Billy just said, you're going to have your challenges. You're going to have your roadblocks. Every year is a new start. So as we came into 2022, 2021, 2024, last year, it's a new beginning. You hit that reset button. It's a new start. I want you guys to come into 2025 with a clear mind, a clear mindset, a clear vision, everything. I do vision boards. So almost everything that I see on that vision board, one of the words that I put on there was evolve. And I must say that I've stood strong on the test of time because I've learned that change is scary, but it's beautiful in the end. And I appreciate all of the love, all of the support, all of the blessings that has been put upon me and before me. So thank you all so much for that. And that is my final thought of the day. Again, don't let defeat get you down. We're all going to have our trials and tribulations, but keep going in the end result. And that is today's final thought, Fashion Dolls. So I
That's
want you guys
beautiful.
to
You're
remember that.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Stevie, for having me.
You are so welcome. And where can everyone follow you, Billy? I'd love to have you on again.
Oh yeah. So most of what I put on is Instagram. So it's Billy Joseph Jr. right here somewhere. I'm sure on your screen, and it's right there. When you type it in, my face shows up. I think I'm actually even wearing this same shirt, and so it's on there on my profile. I do put most everything on Instagram, but I do have a Facebook as well, also Billy Joseph Jr. And my website is billyjosephjr.com. And from my website, you can get to everything, whether it's YouTube, IMDb, photo shoots, YouTube, all of that is linked on the website. So check it out, billyjosephjr.com. And that's kind of a hub where I put everything.
All right, Fashion Dolls, there you have it. And joining me tomorrow, we have Rick Kelvin Branch closing out this week in the new month. And we will be back. Monday, we have Montreal Walker, beautiful songstress, singer, songwriter. She will be joining me kicking off the new week next week, Monday. So make sure you guys tune in. And tomorrow, the lineup for next week will be dropped as well, too. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Head on over if you haven't and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow, Fashion Dolls. And Billy, I had such a fabulous time. We got to do it again.
So did I. Let's do it for sure.
All
Happy
right.
New Year.
You too. Happy New Year to you too. Take care, everyone.